What is one of the best ways to populate your border data from your Isogen out of CADWorx? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you one way to do this. Welcome back to the channel, and this video is going to be a little longer than normal. There's a lot to unpack here. So, one of the questions that we've been getting is how do you populate your border data inside of CADWorx when you drop out an ISO? Well, there's several different ways to do it. This one is very effective because it uses the line list and it uses the attributes that are inside your border. There's a couple other ways, and this is going to probably be like a 3-part series over how can you get your data to populate from the border. So this one here, like I said, requires you to go into, just like all of them, goes into iConfigure. So we're going to go into iConfigure and show you how to do that. So what we're going to be using is we're going to be using the PodGraphics exe file inside of CADWorx. And so basically what we're going to do in a nutshell is that we're going to have a line list. We are going to assign a attribute to each item inside that line list. And then inside of iConfigure, we're going to match the attributes that are inside that border to those attributes inside of, the XML file that we're going to create. I know it's very, very confusing, but please stay with me. I'm pretty sure we'll get there. So the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that your line list is formatted correctly. And so you need to make sure that, it has all the same fields as your border that you want to populate. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is you need to make sure that it's in a location that everyone can use it. You can do this by a macro, you can export it out, whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But remember, if you're going to reuse this Isogen style for multiple projects, you might want to come up with kind of a generic name and a generic location, maybe on the designer's computer for them to access it and not access someone else's line list. Anyway, the next thing you're going to need is 2 XML files. And so you got one that's called PodGraphics, and I have this called _cc, that's CAD crazy. And then we have this one here as a pod processor settings _cc. So basically what this does, this first one here is basically a pointer to this one. Okay, so when you run and we'll get into this when we get into Isogen, but when you run your Isogen with this setup, there is a exe file that is on your C drive, and it has to be in the right location. It has to be inside the CADWorx folder for it to work. When you run that, basically we have a setting inside of Isogen that points to this one. It finds this file, and then it points to the data that's in here. So basically this is a pointer. This has actually all the data that we need to put in here. So if we take a look at these files, and you can open these up in just a notepad. Of course, my default one is Notepad++. So basically right here, we have a PodGraphics, and we're setting the location of where we're going to find the settings file. So in this instance, C drive, CAD crazy, Isogen, so on and so forth. And then we're pointing to this file here. The next thing that's going to create, if everything's running correctly, is a log file. And I usually have this dropping out inside my messages folder, inside my Isogen out, inside a C drive. That way, if something errors out, you can take a look at this log file and you can go ahead and find out what's going on, what errored out, because there could be errors when you first run this. And in fact, I'm almost going to guarantee you there's going to be errors when you first do this, because there's a lot of moving parts. Okay, so again, this file points to this one right here. Okay. Basically what this does, if we walk down the code here, it has in here where our line list is located. So here is our C Isogen out line list, CAD crazy line list .xls. I have not had any luck with an XLM, you know, the one for macros or any of the newer formats. So we're going to have to stay with this one for right now. This one right here, okay, this line right here, it's saying from the border data where and line number, okay. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go into your Excel file, into your line list, and you're going to have to set up that field that it's looking for, that name manager is looking for. So if we look into our Excel right here, so we're looking for, the software is going to be looking for a set of row that's called border data. Okay, so we're going to hit, you know, copy this so we can have the right name. We're going to select all the rows that we want. If you've got 200 line numbers, you're going to have to select everything, all the rows and all the columns that you want to populate. So in this case, we're just going to go, you know, this one right here. We're going to go to name manager. We're going to hit new. Okay. We're going to paste the border data in here. And then you can see that we're talking about sheet 1, you know, A8 to ST13. So we're going to hit that. Okay, so now we have our name manager, our range for border data from here, and then we're going to hit, you know, close. Okay, so now if we go to name manager, there it is. Okay, now go ahead and save this, and we're going to go ahead and close it just in case. Okay. Okay, so now we're saying from line number. Okay, so it's going to pull from that particular column. It's going to look for all the data associated with it. So now what you have to do is you have to open up the line list again. So we're going to open up this guy. Okay, I'll pause, get rid of that. And you're going to have to match these external names, which is from the line list, to a particular attribute that Isogen is going to use. Okay, so line number, size. So what I usually do is I actually path every single one of these. If I don't use them, I don't use them, but at least I have them if I ever need them. So this is going to be kind of a long drawn out process. I'll show you how to do that. So, so the next one, line service, I usually just copy and paste, spec, keep them in order. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through all this. And that way I don't have to sit here and keep talking. So now I have all these pasted in here. The other ones I don't really need, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete the rest of these right here. Okay. So now we're going to save this. Okay. And we're going to save this. Okay. So now we should be good to move on to the Isogen side, or the iConfigure side of it. So now we're inside the Isogen side of things. This should only be done by your CAD administrator. This is not something you should just go in there and do yourself. Now, if you want to try this, on your own system and make sure, play around with it, try it, that's fine, but do not mess up, the company standard without getting the CAD administrator involved. So anyway, go into iConfigure, go to your style. Okay, so CC Isogen pod is what I've called this one. And we're going to go to edit. There's a couple of things we have to do first. So what we're going to do is go to pre and post processors. Okay, this is a functionality inside of CADWorx that allows you to run scripts before and after and during running of ISOs. So you need to make sure your pod processor is, connected. So again, this needs to be CADWorx 2023, since that's the one I'm using. Plant, Isogen, iConfigure, Pod Graphics Processor, EXE. I'll have this link down below, or this path down below, for you to be able to use that. Now, there was a glitch in 2022, I believe it was, or 19, I can't remember. They have fixed that. It does work. So there was a couple of revisions there that they broke something, and they had to fix it. So anyway, just path out to this location right here, and if you just double click on that one, go down to this location, you should be able to find it right here. Okay, so now we've got this one. So this is when Isogen runs, it's going to run this pod processor while it's running that ISO. Okay, so next thing we need to do is we need to go to input files. Okay. And so we're going to go to input files. We're going to go down to summary, go into input files right here, and then you're going to have to fill out this information. So basically what you do is you're going to click on the arrow right here. You want to go down to Pod Graphics config file, okay, and then path out to wherever your pod processor file is. I usually keep them on in the same folder as the project on Isogen. You can keep them wherever you want to, but I find it very convenient to keep all the Isogen files together. So you're looking for that first processor file, that pointer file that's going to go to the settings file. Okay, so once you have that, then you're going to hit, again, save down here, and that way you save your progress as you go along. Okay. Attribute file, this is something totally different. This is another way to do it. We will get that into another video. Okay, so once you have that done, then you go to your border data tab right here, and you go to attribute display. Go down to backing sheets. Okay, and then it's going to look at the backing, it's going to look at the border, okay, and the attributes that are inside the border. And this is where you're going to path or link your attributes from your border to the attributes that you defined in the XML file. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and kind of minimize this a little bit. Bring this over, okay, and then we're going to go to back to here, And so we set like these attributes as attribute 0, attribute 1, attribute 2, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the ones that we're looking for. Your line number, you can pull from the line list if you want to, or you can actually pull it from the line number that's inside of Isogen or in CADWorx. That's what I usually do. So we come down here, go to, let's see, pipeline reference. Okay, that's our line number, our spec. This is when having a second screen is very helpful, because then you can look at what, what your attributes are. So I'm going to put this on my second screen so I don't have to keep flopping back and forth. So we're going to put that over there. Let's see, spec, that was attribute 3. So if we bring this over here, here's spec, attribute 3. So let's go to spec. Attribute 3. And so you just keep pathing these out. Now I'm going to do this in a faster time, just like we did with populating the list, so that way you don't have to keep, watching me babble on, and we can get through this faster. Okay, so now once you have all these pathed in, we can go ahead and actually there's one I forgot. So rev, that's number 19. We're going to go down to number 19 and go here. Okay. If there's any other information you want on your line list that you want on your border, go ahead and put it in your line list and pull that information in. So we're going to hit save. Okay. So once you have all those steps done, okay, you just hit save and you exit out. Bring this back over. Depending on how you're running it, if you're running it directly through iConfigure, which you can in CADWorx and Isogen, or if you're using the older files, then you can just go ahead and hit export style. Okay, so it exported the styles to right there. And so let me show you what that looks like. So it created all these old, this is from like Project Manager from years ago. It created the alt files and the FDF, DDF, all those position files. Those still work, but it's just a pointer. You can just use the XML file if you wanted to. So anyway, that's where we are. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to get into the model, drop an ISO, and show you how this works. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to save that. I always try to get out of the line list if I can. So that way it's just, doesn't cause any problems. Sometimes some programs do not like you having the file open. Plant 3D is one of them. When you try to do this, if the file's open, it just does not pull the data in. So we're gonna hit save. Okay. And now we're gonna go into our CADWorx. Okay. And we're gonna run this line. Now this line, again, the line number has to match identically to the line list. So if you're running ones that have like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 to distinguish which sheet it's on, you're going to have that inside that line list. It's just nature of the beast. Okay, so we're going to drop this out, okay? But we got to make sure that our Isogen style is set up correctly, or we're pointing to the right one. So go into setup. I told you this was going to be a very long data centric video. So we're going to go to default. Okay, here's our default style. If we bring this over, you can see that that is not the one that we're looking for. We're looking for the one that's CC Isogen pod. Okay, so we're going to click on that one. Again, you can use the iConfigure, you can browse for it, whatever your CAD administration has it set up, or whatever you're doing. In this case, I'm just going to use the iConfigure one. So we're just going to use that one. We're going to hit OK. We're going to save our changes. Okay, and we're going to do an Isogen out. Okay, line number, list. Here's our line number, and we're going to hit OK. Now, if everything goes as planned, it should drop out with no problem. But we're going to look at the log file. Okay, so here is our CC pod graphic log file. You can see it was created. Looks like it was successful, but let's look at the log file first. Okay, again, I'll open it up in here. Okay, we have an error. Okay, an unexpected token is in line 4855. Okay, so we're looking for the settings. Great. So let's come over here. 48. Okay, so what we found is we have an error in this line 48. So if we go to the settings, that's line 48, that's the PNID. Now, what I found out was the and signed just did not work inside of the software. So I had to take that out of the PNID, out of the settings file, and the line list. So we reran it, and now we got another bug. Okay, so you can see that the difference between the two looks a lot different. It's looking at the files, which is good. It's looking at this line number, which is not what we're looking for. But if you look at the data following it, it found the correct information. It just couldn't populate anything. So let's go ahead and rerun it this time. And we're going to do an Isogen batch. We're going to select this line number, and we're going to hit OK. Okay, so it did create the file. And if we look at the line number, look at this, look at this. Now we got more information. So this really only works with your Isogen batch. It doesn't work with your Isogen out. So now it's populating the information. So let's look at the actual drawing. So we're going to go to our Isogen out. Here is our, let's go to the latest one right here. So now we're going to open this guy up. If we come down, you can see now we have all the information inside the border. Looks like we got a little bleed over here. We would have to fix that. But all the information's on there. Wow, now that was a video. That one was really deep. We got into multiple programs, multiple files, multiple configurations. This one is, I would say, for the admins mostly, not for the designers. But that being said, now you understand how or what it takes to populate that information, inside your border using your line lists and the pod graphics. Again, we've got 2 more videos coming up surrounding this information on how you can do it. But in the meantime, this is a good one to use. I've used it for many, many jobs. It's effective. It works once you get rid of the errors. Do not get discouraged when you find errors or when you have errors. You saw that we went through and we had 2 errors running this, and I've done this numerous times. Don't get disheartened. Just look at your log file, find out what the issue is, and fix it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below if there's anything you want us to cover, anything you're having problems with. A lot of the newer videos coming out are from ideas that I got from you guys because you've asked questions, and so it's just easier for me to put out a video and build content. So anyway, tell your friends, let me know if there's anything you want to see, and until next time.